All right, Microsoft Customer Success Day, Dynamics Con Virtual. Great to be here. My name is Kenny Pontoppidan, and I'm a principal program manager with Microsoft, working with Business Central every single day. And my talk today is about how you can use data to get low friction go lives and optimize your investments with Business Central using telemetry data. So now that's very scary. Telemetry data, what is that? Well, the agenda for today is exactly this. What is telemetry and why should I care? And then the two main topics, of course, using data to get low friction Business Central go lives, as well as after go live, how do you do more with Business Central for the license you pay? How to do more with less with Business Central. And hopefully after this session, you think, hey, I want this. What should I tell my administrator to get me all these nice insights? And if you even stick around to the end of this session, there's going to be a live Q&A where I will stick around and ask or answer any questions that you might have on the topic. So stay tuned for that. But let's dive in. Telemetry. That's a dangerous word, but actually it's not. It's just a fancy word for usage data. All there is to it. Business Central Telemetry is opt-in. You don't have to use it. Administrators can set it up. Either you as a tenant administrator or your partner can do it. And I will show you in the end how easy it is to do. And the feature itself has been designed to be privacy compliant. We design privacy into this. So wherever you are under GDPR in the European Union or have any other privacy laws regulating what you are allowed to do, telemetry just conforms to all of that. If telemetry is enabled for a Business Central environment, we, meaning Business Central, will log data about the usage, what do users do in Business Central, errors if something goes wrong, performance, where time is spent. We're not going to talk a lot about performance in this session, and changes, who changed what, when. And then before we dive into the first demo, the audience for this is actually it's both end users, or I should say, maybe the people at the customer organization who really care about the Business Central is a success, the implementation is a success. So whether I sometimes call you the project sponsor, because you put some of your own, of yourself into this to make it work. And therefore, the more we can do to make this project work for you, the better, right? And if you're a partner, the same thing applies. You want your customer to be a success. You want this new Business Central environment to shine and be something that customers, users use and love. So let's have the first quick tour into Power BI to just visualize some of the things that you get with Business Central Telemetry. Okay, so here I am in the Business Central usage app. It's an app like in Power BI app. That just means that this is hosted. You install this from Power BI App Source, but it's just a Power BI report. Actually, it's 4 different reports. You get a usage report here. I will dive into that a bit more. You get an error report, a performance report, and an administration report that is probably mostly for administrators. So let's take a look at a few of the pages in the usage report. The first here is what we call DAO Wow Mao, but it's just the monthly, daily, weekly, and monthly users of the system. Now, Business Central Telemetry can have data for multiple environments or a single environment. It doesn't matter for us. So this report just shows data as seen from a situation where multiple environments log telemetry to the same database. It doesn't have to be the case. If you only have one environment that you have telemetry for, you would just have only see data for one environment, right? So here you can see your current daily, weekly, monthly usage, and you can see that the last time this was updated was 18th of February. And you can see the current DAO, WOW, MAU counts here are as they are. But you can also see the progress of usage across dates here. You can see that um, especially for go live, that you would typically during the go live phase so have only a few users, and then when you enroll the rest of the organization, you will have many more users enrolled to this. That also means that this DAO, WOW, MAU report over time will typically for go live just grow up to some number. And if we're doing it right, and if the partner is doing it right, with an ERP system, your MAU numbers are likely to be constant because it's the chance of a user actually using Business Central once a month, at least once a month, is fairly high. However, the DAO, the daily usage numbers will be different. They will follow a pattern where you see a dip during the weekends, and then for the weekdays you see active usage, and then a dip for the weekend, and so on. So that's something you can see here, how your users use the system over the day, the week, and the monthly numbers. The next page here is sessions. So this is showing you what types of users are logging in and what types of clients are they using. Are they using Teams? Are they using phone or the web client? When do they log in? Over the day, over the week, and over a calendar, whatever this report has been set to load data. So you can, when you install this, I'll show you later, you will have ability to say, I only want data for 7 days or 2 weeks or whatever you like. So that will be the calendar you see here. The next report here is clients. So here you will be able to see what browsers do people use, or what clients like tablet, phone, desktop, and so on. Which screen size do they use? This is important if you design new functionality with new apps, maybe per tenant extensions together with a partner, that if you have users with small screens, maybe small laptops, you want to design the user interface in a different way than if people have wide screens. So you get that information here. And you get statistics of which browsers people use. Maybe that's boring. The next thing is not boring though. This is the locations page. Here you can see from where people log into the system. Now my demo data here shows that people log in from Denmark, because I'm from Denmark, from the UK and from India. So the map here shows you from where do people log in, and so that's the location. And the language column you see here is showing you which languages the users prefer when they set up their client. There's also a visualization down here under user languages where you can see which are the languages that your users prefer to have Business Central set up in. So we'll go through some of the other reports here. You might say, oh, what about the reports and page views? We'll get there. So I just want to show you a few more things and then go more deep into the go live part. For the administration report, I just want to show you two things. The first one is a change report. So how many times have you not been talking to someone from IT and they say, whenever there's something wrong or changed, it's always a change in the system. Well, this is what this report is for the IT department or for the partner organization to see whatever happened on either on the environment or an extension and so on. Was the environment updated? Was an extension installed and so on? So what happened when is what this report shows. All changes happening across all environments, across these dimensions. The second page I want to show you here are field changes. Now, Business Central comes with a nice feature called sensitive field monitoring. Sensitive field monitoring allows the administrator of Business Central to say, I want to track any change to these fields. It could be a credit card, bank information, whatever. And if you do so, this is logged to telemetry, not the data that was changed, because we don't want to log customer data into telemetry, but who changed it is here, when was it changed, and which field in which table was changed. So you can see that directly here in the admin report under field changes. Okay, let's go back to the presentation and dive a little bit in to the go live part. So data-driven, low friction Business Central go lives. The go live phase has many different things that you on the customer end and the partner on the partner end need to take care of. In this presentation, I have two main tasks to discuss. The first one is user acceptance testing. Does it work as we expect it to do? And the second part is stability testing. Can we remove as much friction as possible before everyone is onboarded to Business Central? So let's see how this usage report and error and usage report can be used as a way to actually see if people do user acceptance testing. What do they test? So let's go back to the Power BI report on the usage report and look at a few scenarios here. So I would just go back up here to the usage report and dive into the first here is page views. Page views is which pages in the client have been visited by users. So you can see the statistics of these, like this page of this type was visited by how many users and how many times it was visited. You can see over the day, like when do people visit different pages, and over the week. So let's say that we are in this user acceptance testing phase, and you have set up with users that everyone need to test things on Wednesday. And they did. We can actually see that everyone did test things on a Wednesday. Great. So if you have data, you can see that this confirms what was supposed to happen. There's also a different situation. What if they actually didn't test? Let's say that the test was scheduled for a Saturday and everyone went out to play golf. You can see here no one tested the system on Saturday. Actually, no one did on Sunday. So maybe you need to go back to the project group and find out what's going on. Like when are you going to test the functionality that we are supposed to do? Speaking of that, there's actually even a place that shows you highlights of the application. This is the base application. Which places in the base application were touched by users? So for instance, here in the finance part, we can see that no one tested fixed assets, item charges, tax, VAT, workflow, but there were people who tested financial reporting and so on. Now, is this good or bad? It depends. If your system does not use fixed assets, well, then there's no need to test it, and this absence of data here is fine. But if fixed assets were part of this implementation plan and test plan, well, then you need to go back to the project group and kind of ask them to test, because they obviously didn't test this part of the application. Reports. Reports is an important thing of an ERP system to know, to have data that guide you to take decisions in your business. So here on the reports page, you can see which reports have people been running. You can see again, over the day and over the week, you can see whether they downloaded, previewed, print, and so on. This is important as well. Let's say that your user acceptance testing also included that you can print. Well, the good thing for this data is, yes, they actually did test out printing and you're happy. But if there's absence of print here, well, no one tried to print an invoice, and maybe you need to make sure that that works. Feature usage. Every single part of the application in Business Central, as well as if partners who write applications for Business Central do this. Um, they can instrument, a developer can instrument with what we call feature telemetry. So for this particular feature, this event happened this many times. You can also you can use this for user acceptance testing, and if master data management was a key thing to test, well, people did actually do it, so that's good. Finally, for Business Central, um, any ERP system never is just out there on its own. There will always, almost every single ERP system will have integrations where people integrate to read and write data, or that the apps inside the ERP system will call out to external services. And this is what we call integrations. Okay, so here I am on the integrations page. And here you can see integrations to and from Business Central inside the app published by Microsoft. If you have installed other apps, they will show up here. This is important for your user acceptance testing because you can also test all these integrations to external systems. So this page should be part of your user acceptance testing reporting. Great. Let's go back to the deck and talk about removing friction. So first I need to tell you, of course, that to wrap up the user acceptance testing, what you saw here is you can use the Power BI report, the usage part, and you can simply check if key pages, reports, features, integrations have been tested or touched. You have data, and there's no need to have status meetings to ask if people did it. You can just see if they did or if they did not. Okay, so let's talk about removing friction. The error report and the error telemetry is there for that, because for Go Live, you want to make sure that you get rid of all the annoying low-hanging fruit errors when you only have few users on the system, so that when you onboard the rest of the users, they have a smooth experience, they don't experience a lot of errors. Let's see how that works in the error report. And the error report comes with a built-in dashboard. So here you have an overview of all the types of errors that happen in Business Central or can happen. You have errors that happens where users see errors. You have errors happening to integrations to external systems, as well as system errors like setup errors or anything that could fail within Business Central. So for each of these, let's explore a few of those. And let's start with permission errors. This is a great thing to start with your Go Live testing, because there would be permission errors probably many different places where you don't get setup of permissions completely right the first time. So let me try to find some permission error that would be fun here. Statistical accounts. This is a new feature, by the way, coming in version 22.0 in the finance, so that's great. You're testing this in user acceptance testing, and apparently there's something not right with permissions here. So you can see in which environment it's happening, and then you can go sort that out as part of Go Live. So I think that's a nice first thing to do. The second thing I would do is taking care of error message feedback. So whenever a user in Business Central gets like an error dialog, we added a voting where they can say, was this helpful, yes or no? Now, everyone says, if they say, yes, this is a great error message, okay, that's fine. But everyone who says, nah, this is not good, it could be that you need to provide better training, or maybe go in and tweak the system so that this error doesn't occur. So for each of these, I think maybe we are lucky. We have here something about OneDrive. Maybe OneDrive was not set up for all users, so that would be nice to take care of. The last thing I want to show you for the error, getting errors to zero, is error dialogues. Whenever a user sees an error dialog in the system, this is logged to telemetry. So going back to our statistical accounts, we can see that there were 42 errors on that during our test. So it could be that we need to go back and see if there's something that needs to be set up about statistical accounts, or maybe that users are using the feature in not the intended way. Maybe you need to have more training. Maybe the finance department needs to know more about what does this feature actually do. And for the people who maybe need to dive into more code, probably the partner, whenever you click on an error here, you can actually see where this error is coming from, in which part of the code, and who owns this code. This is Microsoft code, and in this code unit here. All right, so let's recap on our go live. Actually, not yet, because if you think of this error dashboard, this is just showing you all the errors that is present, is stored in telemetry, right? So for go live, if you want to drive these down, how do you actually track progress? Well, you could take screenshots of this, and every day you could see if numbers are changing, but that's not right. That's not really the way you want to work as a project manager, project sponsor, or a partner. And by the way, did I mention that we do have a live Q&A after this session? So if anything I talk about, if it triggers some questions, just write them down, and we can get to them in the end. Now, if you looked closely and on some of the pages in the error report, you might have noticed that there are KPIs called all, last 7 days, or since yesterday. These KPIs are there to track changes into errors, and hopefully you can use these to see, let's say that you set up an initiative during go live to drive job queue errors to 0. Then you can see that since yesterday we actually didn't have any, but we did have 25 over the last 7 days. So you could go and kind of monitor these on each of the pages. But that's not nice as well, right? You don't want to go, how many pages in the error report? 15? You don't want to have a daily routine where every morning you go in and you want to have someone to track this for you, right? So with Power BI, this Power BI report is, for you to use that, you need a Power BI Pro license. That costs you $10 a month, $10 US dollars a month for a license. With that license also comes a pretty cool product, in my opinion, that is really, really good to track these things for you, which is called Power BI Metrics. So here in the Power BI portal, there's a goal, there's something you can win here, and this is where you create your first scorecards. When you create a scorecard, you can give that a name, you can have many scorecards, and then you add metrics. Metrics is just a name for a number over time. That's all there is to it. So I created a metric called daily job queue errors, and then for this, I'm simply connecting this to the Power BI reports. This is where I get my data from. And when I do that, I need to select here the error report and navigate to the job queue errors, where I simply pick that number you just saw there on the job queue errors and say, I want to track the since yesterday numbers on job queues every single day. And that's what the metric does. It tracks a number for every day. And if you let that simmer for a few days, you can actually see a progress here of how that number changed over time. So this shows you in this example here that your task force that made daily job queue errors go down, they actually succeeded. You can see they drove down from 25 to 0, and 0 has been the number for the last 3 days. Great. Now, what's even more cool here is you can set your thresholds of what you mean by at risk, on track, and completed for each of these metrics. And if you do so, and I think this is even more cool, you get all the state changes directly into Teams. So this is daily job queue errors is now completed. So now I got a notification that simply in Teams that this is now completed. But, and I think I really like this, if you set this up during go live and keep it like that, you will even get notifications if job queue errors start to climb again, and then it would go up in at risk or even higher, right? So by setting this up during go live, you have automatic projects surveillance of key KPIs that you really want to make sure that these never like degrade or regress. Right, so for stability testing for go live, just to summarize, use the Power BI report for errors and check your key error scenarios in there, and maybe set up Power BI metrics on these so that you track progress of these both before, during, and after go live. Right, so the next part of this presentation is how can you do more with less with Business Central? And I was, before I joined Microsoft, part of a consultancy business, and I've been in many, many customer meetings, both as a customer and as a salesperson. What I hate about sales meetings is people wasting my time. What do I mean about that? Here are a few examples. These are hypothetical examples. Of course, your partners would never do this with you. So are you happy with the new thing we made for you? Right. What they're really saying, if I have to be a little bit rude, is I have no idea how you use these things you paid us to develop. Not really a nice way to go into a meeting, right? If the customer thinks this, maybe we could do better. Here's another example. Did you know that Business Central now supports that end users make report layouts with Excel? What they're really saying is, I have no idea how you use Business Central. I think you get the point. Hey, do you use Power Automate yet? That actually means I have no idea of if or how you use Power Platform or Azure services. Now, as a partner account manager, or actually also as a project sponsor on the customer end, why not use data to plan new activities together? And if you do have these follow-up meetings after go live, use them to provide value directly in the meeting instead of wasting people's lives and time. So let's see a demo of how that could work. I'll shift over to the usage report again and show you a few more tricks here. So my trick number one is, I just need to look at my demos here, is Excel layouts. So how can we do that? So if I go here to reports, and I did show you this report before, but I skipped these layout types. Whenever you run a report in Business Central, you can either have a layout of type Excel, RDLC is a technical thing, or Word. Right? These are the three different types of reports, layouts. Now, Excel layouts was something we developed, and it's fairly new concept. It's only been a year in the product. With Excel layouts, the end users can lay out their reports with Excel. So you simply have a way to get your data out in Excel, put pivot tables, put whatever you like in there, and then upload that again to Business Central. And when you run the report, that's your template. So it's taking away the responsibility of the layout experience out of the hands of the developers and into the hands of end users. So there are two things you can ask yourself whenever you go into this report. If you see Excel here, as we do have reports of types Excel. That's great. This means that this environment here actually are using Excel layouts. Great. Maybe you can do more. You can do a lot of things with Excel layouts. You can use Power Query to join data from Business Central with other data sources. Tons of things you can do. So any skilled partner who knows about Excel or Power Query, Power BI, could maybe do workshops with you as a customer to do more with Excel. you're already paying for a Business Central license. You're probably paying for an Office license with Excel. Why not get more out of that if you're already using it? And with all of these, the absence of data also tells you something. Let's say that you don't see any Excel here. That actually means that you as a customer, or if you are a partner, this particular customer is missing completely out on Excel layouts, missing out on all the self-service, all the things that end users could do themselves. And that's a pity. In my opinion, I think that's a shame. So data shows that they are using it. You can maybe do more. They here is users. Absence of data is an opportunity maybe to at least introduce this capability, and you as a customer can decide, no, I'm fine, we don't need this. Or you can go, hey, I want this, and I'm even paying for it, so I want it now. Second thing I want to show you here is connectors. The connectors report show integrations into Business Central from Teams, Excel, Power BI, Power Automate, Power Apps, Power, like all of these. And again, you can use this to ask questions about, oh, I can see this particular environment is using a lot of Power Automate. Great. Maybe we can do workshops together with with the product, like the customer and the partner, to do more with automate more business processes. And again, with absence of Power Automate here, there could be an opportunity to actually like digitize business processes and do a lot. Business Central is growing with Power Automate and have more and more capabilities of using Power Automate together with Business Central. So there could be an opportunity to simply go in and digitize more business processes with automation. And the last thing I want to show in this part of the presentation is application areas. We talked a little bit about it when I showed you this report earlier. The fixed assets report or area here. I mean, most companies do have fixed assets. You have bought things that maybe you should want to track in your ERP system. So this could be an opportunity if there's no usage of fixed assets. Maybe this is a part of Business Central where you're already paying for it. You could benefit from this functionality tomorrow if you start using it and train for it. So as a partner, you could look for these maybe low-hanging fruits of Business Central functionality that the customer is not using and help them get like more bang for the buck. And similarly, if you're from the customer end of things, if you're the project sponsor, maybe there are part of this application landscape where you think, there's something here called fixed assets. I don't know what it is, but I could look it up in the documentation or ask my partner, and maybe we could get more value out of our licensing money. There are more examples of this. If you go to this URL here, aka.ms/bc-telemetry-checklist, it takes you to a GitHub repository of lots of things where I added a PowerPoint presentation. It's meant for partners to do follow-ups with customers. If you're on the customer end, you could just use this as maybe a way you would like the follow-up customer meetings to be with your partner, and work together, use data to get more value out of your investment. Okay, finally, in this presentation at least, either is not done yet, I want to get coffee, or I want this, what should I do? Well, you need to do at least 2 things, but probably 4. The first thing is you need to create what's called an application insights resource in Azure. This is where we log this data to. It's an Azure resource, and you need to have a way, a place to log this data. So that's the first thing. I'll show you how. Second, you need to configure Business Central to actually log telemetry there. Third, you need to install the Power BI apps that I have shown you here. It's optional, but it's definitely recommended. Without the Power BI content, you just have data. But with the Power BI content, you actually have insights and things you can take actions on. And then 4, you should set up alerts on some key events in telemetry. It's optional, but definitely recommended. You can either use this approach I showed you here with Power BI metrics, or you can also use different tools that you can ask your partners, or you can look in documentation of how to set this up. Telemetry works both for online and on-premises environments. So whatever, how you're hosted doesn't matter. It works both places. We introduced this in version 15, which is a few releases ago. We are releasing version 22 here in April 2023. So the later you are on a version, like the higher version, the more data, more types of data you get. But it does work from all the way down to version 15. This is just a screenshot from the Azure portal. Whenever you create one of these application insights, this purple icon, you just click create, and you can do this as a customer, or you can have your partner do it, and really depends who should own this data. Then how to set up telemetry in Business Central. It is as simple as 1, 2, 3. First, you need to go into the Tenant Admin Center and find your environment here. Then you need to click Define under Application Insights, and that will open up a small dialog where you need to copy in the Application Insights connection string. It's very important that you don't do this during working hours, because this will do a glitch for a few minutes. It will restart your environment. So don't do it while people are working in Business Central. Just do it out of business hours. And that's it. Actually, that was only 2, right? Number 3 here is a confirmation. Business Central telemetry is now configured, and Business Central will start emitting data. The Power BI app exists on Microsoft App Source. You can either search for Business Central Usage Analytics and install it there, or you can go to this URL here, aka.ms/BC Telemetry Report. That will take you through the full installation of the Power BI app. When you have installed it, you need to specify where is data located. So there's a small connect to your data. You specify your application insights, application ID, where is data stored, and how many days of data do you want the app to have. Maybe a month, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a single day, depends totally on you. The app will refresh every night and get the latest whatever sliding window you choose. So, call to action, and this is the last part before we start the live Q&A when the actual event is here. So, enable telemetry in your environments. Ask your administrator or partner to do so. Install the Power BI app. You can do it, your partner. Maybe there's some like authorization that the Power BI app needs to be able to read data, so maybe your administrator is the right one for that. Whoever sets up telemetry and owns telemetry resource could be you as a customer or the partner. Same thing goes for the Power BI app. It just needs to be installed by the same organization that owns the telemetry resource. The beauty about both of these is that the other part, if customer owns telemetry and installs the Power BI app, the customer can share both read access to telemetry and read access to the Power BI report, and vice versa. So there's no, it's just how you prefer it about who installs and who owns these resources. The most important thing is that you as a customer and you as a partner taking care of your customers should use data to take decisions on how to do more with less with Business Central. And with that, I say thank you so much, DynamicCon Virtual, for having me here for the Microsoft Customer Success Day. I'm looking forward to all your questions, and have a great conference. Thank you.